Fitness for work. Fitness for work describes the physical or mental condition whereby a person can be reasonably expected to undertake a task without incurring unacceptable risk to their health and safety. To minimise these risks, Chandler McLeod and host client sites will ensure there are strategies in place to control excessive consumption of alcohol, personal fatigue, other physical and psychological impairment, and improper use of drugs. Fitness for work, what are the hazards? So how can impaired fitness for work affect your safety? Reduced fitness for work resulting from alcohol consumption, fatigue or drug use can result in the following: injury to self or others through abusive behaviour or fighting, loss of awareness of hazards, loss of reasoning and physical ability due to alcohol impairment, fatigue and drugs, long and short-term health risks, adverse social side effects, possible sleep deprivation, aggravation of injury, and infection of other members of the workforce. Fatigue. Fatigue is ultimately a result of insufficient sleep over a period of time and may be compounded by working conditions and requirements. Once fatigued, an individual is unable to self-assess their continual risk level in the workplace and may be unable to carry out the job in a safe manner. At Chandler McLeod, we require you to have at least a 10-hour break between shifts. Each mine site will have different rostering arrangements with regards to the number of continuous shifts versus the number of rostered days off. Your Chandler McLeod consultant will advise you of the arrangements that apply to you. Once fatigued, an individual is unable to self-assess their continual risk level in the workplace and may compromise safety at work. Fatigue, contributing factors. Work-induced fatigue can be brought on by a number of factors, including repetitive or tedious job tasks, tasks requiring a sustained level of concentration, low levels of physical activity, or conversely at the extreme end where the work is physically demanding. People working in a fatigued state may place themselves and others at risk, most particularly when operating machinery, including driving vehicles, when performing critical tasks that require a high level of concentration, and where consequence of error is catastrophic. Fatigue, common controls. To minimise the risk of work-induced fatigue, the mine site may opt to implement a combination of the following controls as part of an overall fatigue management plan. Ensure appropriate rest opportunities for sleep and social activities between breaks. Job rotation. Roster structuring. Appropriate rests and breaks while on shift. Job design to allow for rotation or varying levels of physical activity. Alcohol and drugs. Chandler McLeod will not permit alcohol or illegal drugs to be brought onto Chandler McLeod premises or client sites, nor will we tolerate the consumption of alcohol or illegal drugs on site. You must not attend an assignment through Chandler McLeod under the influence of alcohol or illegal drugs. Some of our client sites have their own drug and alcohol policy and undertake random testing. You will be advised by the client or Chandler McLeod if you are required to adhere to a site-specific policy. If you are taking prescription medication that may affect your work performance, make sure you advise your Chandler McLeod branch. Over-the-counter, i.e. non-prescription medication, can also impact on your fitness for work. If you're not sure, check with your chemist and notify Chandler McLeod before commencing work. Chandler McLeod can provide you with counselling and support facilities if you have a problem with drugs or alcohol. Drugs and alcohol random testing. You may be subject to a random drug or alcohol test to assess your fitness for work while on assignment. If you're working on a mine site that regularly undertakes random testing, you will be advised of the type of testing undertaken and the consequences of a positive result as part of your client induction. To minimise your risk of incident, you must not attend work while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. On many mine sites, you will not be permitted to start work with a blood alcohol concentration of greater than 0.00%. In many instances, if you refuse to undertake alcohol testing at a client mine site, this will be determined as having a positive result, which will then incur disciplinary action. Physical and psychological impairment. Physical and psychological impairment may include, but is not limited to, poor physical well-being, sickness, existing or previous injury, physical exhaustion, and stress. If you find you are affected by a physical or psychological condition, speak to Chandler McLeod and your immediate supervisor. We may be able to refer you to a provider that may be able to assist. If you are affected by a condition that is adversely impacting on your ability to carry out work in a safe manner, it is advisable that you obtain assistance for your condition rather than run the risk of injury to yourself or others. Chandler McLeod will provide counselling and support facilities for candidates with recognised problems. Bullying and harassment is unacceptable behaviour at Chandler McLeod. Fitness for work, your responsibilities. To report for work in a fit condition. To notify Chandler McLeod and your supervisor of any actual or potential impairment of fitness for work. You must notify Chandler McLeod and your supervisor if you are taking any prescription or over-the-counter medication before commencing work, as this could impact on your fitness for work. Use prescribed medication correctly. Participate in drug testing and alcohol testing. Identify your personal risk factors that might heighten physical, psychological or fatigue-related risk and employ the appropriate controls.